All right, here's the problem with taking a hard stance. Usually you back yourself into a corner. I've argued that there are two things going on with PlayStation's third-party exclusivity. Number one, PlayStation players generally are not buying these games. You're playing live service games, right? Number two, PlayStation has been money hatting these games and has been wasting money in other studios' games rather than its own studios. I've made multiple videos to this effect. If you want, look up my exclusivity catalog. You'll be able to find a lot of these particular arguments. I was scrolling through Twitter and Astro Cyborg, the legend, went ahead and clipped a small piece of a podcast where at Nib95 attempts to dissect why Final Fantasy isn't performing sales-wise on PC. I was going to listen to the whole thing, but in the first 20 seconds, I think Nib basically fell into his own snare, a snare of his own design, intellectually, basically. This is not like, he physically, no. So let's listen to what he says here, because I think he may have just played into the hands of the argument of those who are looking at what's going on.
But even like with their third-party publish, because I know there's this whole thing about Square Enix moving back to multi-platform, right?
Yes, we know.
I always say, yes, that could be because they weren't happy with the results.
Well, it's not that could be. They said that they were not happy with the results. They told that to their own shareholders. So it's not that it could be, it objectively, according to them, is.
But it could also just be because PlayStation doesn't feel the need to spend tens of millions on the exclusivity deals anymore.
Well, why is PlayStation backing away from spending tens of millions of dollars from the exclusivity deals anymore? Oh, could it be that it didn't work? That's why they didn't spend the tens of millions on the exclusivity deals? Or could it be? You see, I can now start playing interjector. Could it be that they don't have the money to continue these deals? Or could it be that they probably realize that this is not the direction that they should be going and are now backtracking? Hence, capitulating to my argument that they should not have even started it in the first place. Rather, they should have gone ahead to invest in their own studios. 19 seconds. Thank you so much. But let's go ahead in all good faith and listen to the rest.
And marketing, right? Maybe they just think, well, this isn't not worth the ROI because it's going to cost us 50 million, 100 million. And if it does come out on Xbox, it's not really going to sell much on there anyway. So what are we paying all this money for?
Well, hold on now. Where did that come into the whole conversation? Why is PlayStation going to be bothered about the game not selling well on Xbox and then saying if it's not going to sell on Xbox anyways, then we're not going to go ahead and pay for it? That makes no logical coherence that I can find anywhere. Did you see how this leaped? It just literally hopped from Square Enix, who was objectively said we're not seeing satisfactory results, to their shareholders, by the way. And sir, you tried to make it seem like maybe it's because. It's not maybe. It is definitively because the sales of 3 million units when God of War Ragnarok, another, take a sword and slash bad guys game, is doing 15, but still kind of a damning number because that's only about 6% because the game was available on the PS4 and the PS5, arguably is abysmal compared to Nintendo's own exclusives who actually practice exclusivity traditionally more than everybody else. Square Enix looks and said, we have no chance here. So how does it come to the point where, it's not going to sell a lot of copies on Xbox anyways, so why are we paying for it? What are you talking about? What? Let's keep going.
So that could also be another reason. But then when you look at the sales, I get it. It's not day date on PC.
Well, there's your argument. It's not day date because again, you see, this is a fundamental challenge for a lot of folk who don't really engage in the PC community. I've noticed that and I've been, now I'm more attentive, since the whole Black Myth Wukong thing came out with the Turk, and all that, I've been paying more attention. So I used to not know about a lot of these folk. I used to not see their content, but now from time to time, the algorithm on Twitter will show stuff to me. And so again, I'm paying a little bit more attention. What I've noticed is that a lot of folk who play on console, who talk about PC, platform, have no idea how the PC platform and the user base behave. There's a behavior pattern within the user bases. PlayStation, live service, a lot of live service, FGC community, those little trends and themes that you should know if you're somebody who actually talks about video game analyses, right? You should know for sure that if a fighting game is going to come out, it has to have a PlayStation pipeline, else it's doomed. You know, those little things. So when they say things like, PC players, it's not day and date, PC players read not day and date as low priority. Hence, their purchasing decision of that particular game is also going to be low priority. And they want to buy the game, but they'll wait on top of the wait that they've already waited to get the game in many cases. Simply because, well, many of them went to PC regardless of those so-called games that are being locked into the exclusive. So those games never really affected their gaming. And number two, we're just going to make you wait for our money because, you made us wait for your game. It's that simple. I've noticed it. Many of them will buy these expensive gear, expensive devices and all that and talk about how, they're into PC gaming. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you need to study the gamers and how their behavior is. And I think these companies are understanding it. This is why I've always championed that PlayStation, for it to stay competitive on PC, it needs to just take all its games day one to PC. Xbox is a whole different conversation. And it's already doing that little by little, by the way. So just wanted to go ahead and interject that. I know it's a lot.
So that is going to eat away at some of the sales. But look at Final Fantasy 16, right? 25,000 or something, 27,500 concurrent players, and estimated, based on the analysis firm or whatever, they estimate 289 sales. It did 3 million in a week on PlayStation.
Well, hold on. If you want to make that comparison, why not take a game that launched day and date on PC and PlayStation so that we can see how they both performed? Another third-party game. Pick your poison. Right? Elden Ring? The Division? Hogwarts Legacy? Why don't we do that? Why should we go with two different metrics with a 6-month delayed game? Black Myth Wukong, there's not even an Xbox proxy in here. That's even a pure, that's a much more pure representation of day one launch PlayStation versus PC. So, I don't know. Let me keep listening anyways.
Right. So the next question is, okay, if it's selling so abysmally on PC, a year or whatever after it launched on PlayStation,
a few months. Was it a year? It was a year, I think. Yeah.
Why aren't PC gamers buying it? Because when we have staggered releases on other consoles, like if it's a Deathloop or Tomb Raider comes out on PlayStation, it still does really well on PlayStation. When GTA comes out on PC, it still does really well on PC. So why in particular are those games doing so bad in a staggered release? And it's like either the
GTA, again, he's just leaped over Elden Ring. He's just leaped over Hogwarts Legacy. Just a series of games that have all come out that are third-party games. Cyberpunk 2077, day and date, third-party games. You also have to admit that, every game would also have its own challenges, by the way. Every game will resonate differently. And Square Enix is not entitled to the PC player's money. That's another thing that should be known.
PC gamers, they really don't like waiting for games if it's already been on PlayStation, which I doubt.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Political about it. Or a lot of the PC gamers, which the PlayStation data shows, already own PlayStation or are buying into PlayStation. I think 1/3 owned a PlayStation console.
Huh? 1/3? So you mean to tell me that 1/3 of PC players own a PlayStation? What data was that? Maybe there's a data set from a survey of some kind.
According to Sakana, active PC gamers, or the ones who already have a PlayStation are already buying it on PlayStation, therefore they don't need to buy it on PC.
They're not double dipping.
Yeah, and if that is the case, well, guess what? It's actually more cognizant on Square Enix to get that money from the console side of things, because the console RRP of the game is higher.
Well, that is a bunch of not coherence. Hold on. If I understand what's being said here, Well, the reason they're not playing is because maybe those on PC already have the console. Then why didn't they buy more of it? Why did it not sell more? So you mean to tell me that even the PC players that have a PlayStation don't buy games on PlayStation 2? Like, yeah, oh man, you are boxing yourself in with these hypotheses. Now, I have to admit, I have seen people who said that they bought a PS5 to play Final Fantasy 16. Right? But those were the people who could not wait. Those who were okay waiting, they waited, and they're going to wait more. I already answered this question at the beginning of the video, even before I watched. That's crazy.
And they didn't have to do the sales and stuff. Now, obviously, it launched a year later, but generally games can be slightly cheaper on PC. So they would actually make more money from each sale on the console.
They could have launched it day one at the full price. What's being said here doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me. Sure, I get it, CD keys, but there are people who buy on Steam. In fact, there are some games I'll buy on Steam and some I'll buy via CD keys. There is a difference. There are reasons why I do that. Sometimes it's a game that I, with all, every fiber in my being I want to play, I couldn't be bothered. I'll buy it wherever. And sometimes I'm not certain. I'll buy it on Steam so I can get and, take advantage of the refund policy just in case the game tries to screw me over. There are reasons why, and we have a lot of options.
So, there's all these things to consider. I know Square Enix is saying that, multi-platform, but based on the data that we've seen and historic data where, like, for example, less than 10% of Final Fantasy 15 sales were on Xbox, and that was back then. Right.
What does Xbox have to do with this?
Now there's even more cannibalization, right? So, maybe...
Cannibalization? From where? Is Final Fantasy 16 going to Game Pass? Or is Game Pass now cannibalizing a game that's not on there? I don't know, bro. What? Astro Cyborg, what is this? What is this clip that you clipped, man? All right. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
They'll find out that porting those games over is not going to make the difference that they think it is. It all depends on the game, right? Different genres do well on PC and on...
But how can you tell if the game did not even launch day one on PC and has not even been announced for Xbox? There's so much conjecture and conclusion making here without any walking towards it that I just think a lot of, the hopping around doesn't really help us be able to create any level of coherence. This was supposed to be why Final Fantasy is not selling on PC, but it somehow jumped to how the sales are not even going to be good on Xbox because of cannibalization. I thought that was a Game Pass argument thing. If anything, I'd wager you that the exclusivity of freaking Final Fantasy 16 and 7 cannibalized its potential sales that it could have gotten on PC and Xbox had it launched day one compared to other games within the similar genre or even other genres externally as third-party games. Insert possibly the Monster Hunter world coming very soon. Insert the Resident Evil games that have already released. Insert Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, and Cyberpunk 2072. Insert the Assassin's Creed games, even though Ubisoft is literally getting beaten by everybody. They bought tons of copies of Assassin's Creed Valhalla in 2020. I don't know, bro.
Console, etc. It seems like Final Fantasy has kind of just doesn't have as much interest on the PC side, whereas the kind of WRPGs and stuff like Path of Exile and Baldur's Gate, they do gangbusters.
That is absolutely untrue. Final Fantasy 14 Online. If you look at the Steam best of, say, almost any year, you'll see Final Fantasy 14 Online as one of the top raking in money games almost every year. In fact, here you go, just so that we can put this to rest. In the silver category in 2024, last year, of the top games measured by gross revenue, Final Fantasy 14 Online is in the silver category. In there with games like Ghost of Tsushima, Lethal Company, and Hogwarts Legacy's Year 2 sales, including Stalker 2 and Dragon's Dogma in their Year 1 sales. So that statement about Final Fantasy not having much interest on PC, I do not think the data supports that, Nib. I don't think so.
Right. And then the games with the Chinese kind of confluence, they do amazing as well, like Black Myth Wukong and Power World, but it's a very selective thing.
I don't know, man. I think he's trying to make sense of it. And again, all analysis, but I think Nib, there's a lot of acquaintance deficits that you may need to make up for. Is that even a thing? But you get yourself acquainted with the PC ecosystem a little more. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, play on PC. Get on Discord servers, play some online games, do some LFGs, talk to PC players, see how they think, what they like, where they game, how most of them are not even bothered by FOMO and all this stuff. I think you'll learn a lot more about the PC audience. You really realize that PlayStation seems like they're learning everything that I've been saying here that PlayStation needed to do to make it on PC. They're starting to move that direction simply because they're learning. They were bringing the games, 2 years later, but they're looking and saying, man, 2 years later doesn't seem like it's enough. So Lost Soul Aside is coming day one. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, day one. Until Dawn Remake, day one. Lego Horizon Adventures, day one. Oh, remove the PlayStation requirements for these single-player games. Oh, at first, they didn't want to do it. People were saying, when they learned quickly, they removed it. Because a PC gamer is a different kind of gamer. They do not want console shenanigans. They don't like all this stuff that usually is normal order of business on console. And so they're dictating the way they actually interact with games. So again, I would say, and it's not complicated. It's not like the PC player is a complicated, it's just a normal gamer, but a normal gamer that is thinking about their gaming differently and wanting a lot more control over it. This is why, for the most part, those who play on console or like consoles and, are invested in a console ecosystem, it's like when we're talking, back and forth, it's like we're in two different worlds. Thankfully, I played on console. That really helped me a lot. I play on console a lot. So I could walk into a place, you wouldn't even know I'm a PC gamer. I could walk into a place, you wouldn't even know I've ever played on consoles. Well, I use a controller, so maybe some of the PC hardcore people might be like, use a controller. I'm just joking. It doesn't matter. A lot of PC gamers use controllers. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.